Hey everybody, Neil Malik from Knack Training here, bringing another everyday office video. And today's video is building off of an earlier video I did about calendar tables. If you haven't watched that, go ahead and click the link right now, or if you're watching on some other platform, there should be a link in the description somewhere. Go watch that video and it will tell you more about what we're trying to accomplish here. Okay, so the idea is that we have this calendar right here of all these dates, and we want to be able to build a more sophisticated calendar off of this so that we can use it in lots and lots of scenarios, like, for example, being able to work on a pivot table for the sales data. So we begin by clicking on this calendar over here on the left. We go to the Data tab at the top of the screen and we put it into Power Query. We can do that by clicking on the From Table or Range button right here in this specific situation, because I happen to have these two tables in the same spreadsheet. So I click on From Table or Range, and this pulls it into Power Query for me. And what I did in the example was to go over here to the Add Column tab and do a lot of date math, right? So if I go to the Date drop-down menu, I can get something like the year out of the date. I can get something like the month. I can get something like the quarter. I can get something like the week, or the day, which would be the day of the month, or the day of the week. And I can also get out non-number information, right? So every one of these is a number. So I could also go over here to date, go to day, and get the name of the day instead of the number of the day. And I get Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, etc. So in using this, you could decide to filter by day of the week, for example. But the problem is that when we work like this, as you can see, Power Query doesn't really know on the sort options about the days of the week. Or in the same way, if I went over here to the date and I got out the month, but I got out the name of the month, right? Well, in terms of sorting, Power Query doesn't know about sorting by month names. Instead, it's just sorting alphabetically. And this was a problem that a few people ran into and were asking me questions about. And what I wanted to do was demonstrate the easy version of this and then take it a step further. So here's the easy version of this. This is all we're concerned with, name of the day, name of the month, those sorts of things. We go to the Home tab, click Close and Load, and we load this to a connection only, and we load it to the data model, which is going to make it available to Power Pivot, which is code word for, data model is code word for Power Pivot. So I click OK, and now I go over here to the Sales table. And again, if you notice here, I've got my Calendar tab and my Sales tab, my Calendar tab and my Sales tab. So this is the same spreadsheet here. Okay, so I'm on my other table, and I do the same thing. Go to the Data tab, get the data from a table or range, and load this into Power Query. I'm feeling good about it. I don't really need to do anything with it, so I'll click Close and Load to, and load it once again to only a connection, because I don't want to re-spit out this table, just a connection to this table. But I need to add it to the data model because Power Pivot's what's going to allow me to do the work on this data. So I click OK. And now because those two tables are part of the data model, because they're part of Power Pivot, we can now go into Power Pivot, load this information up, and do something with it. So again, if you don't have a Power Pivot tab at the top of your screen, make sure to go into your add-ins for Excel and enable the Power Pivot add-in. You can then, from the Power Pivot tab, click on the Manage button, and you can see the two tables, the Calendar table and the Sales table. And what we did in the previous exercise was to go to the diagram view for these two tables and establish that there is a relationship between the sale date and the actual date. And because we've done this now, because we have this relationship between the actual date and the sale date, we can now make a pivot table that makes use of all this other cool stuff, like the name of the month or the name of the day of the week or all that other stuff perfectly on the table. So now we've done pretty much everything we need to do to establish that there's a connection between TBL calendar and TBL sales. So what I'll do is I'll click onto TBL sales and make a pivot table from TBL sales. Put that on a new worksheet, hit OK, and I'll go ahead and turn off my grid lines and zoom in so you can see it a bit better. All right, so now what I'll do is I'll go to the query to TBL sales and decide to make a pivot table out of the sale values. Okay, so right there, I can tell that we have all of these sales. There we go. Perfect. And I could decide that I want to filter this by sale date, for example. If I want to do something simple like that, I can go to Pivot Table Analyze at the top of the screen, click on to Insert Timeline, and filter this by the sales date. Perfect. And I could say, you know, I'm only interested in, let's call it, let's do years. I'm only interested in 2017 and 18. Okay, perfect. So now we have the sales from 2017 and 2018. But here's my problem. When I go into the pivot table and I decide that I want to filter it by all this calendar information, there's a lot of different approaches to this, right? I could take something like the month name, for example, drag the month name into the rows box, and you'll see that it goes April, August, December, right? It goes with alphabetical order. And so I would have to come in here and give it sort options, and I have to tell it, oh, you know what? I need to sort it by, different options. More options, come in here, sort based off. There's depths right there in order to sort this appropriately. Or in another way, let me take this out and instead just filter this by like day of the week, for example, and go to Pivot Table Analyze, go to my slicers, and decide to slice it by the name of the day of the week, right? So that is that one. There we go. Hit OK. And again, you see Friday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday. So we have issues here where the information that we're using is not sorting based on date or based on how the days of the week work or how the months of the year work or that sort of thing, but instead going alphabetically. So how do we make all of those things work properly? Well, the answer to that is not in Power Query, but rather in Power Pivot. So let's go back to Power Pivot and go back to managing the data model. And what's interesting here, I'll go over here to Data View, and I'll go back to my calendar table. All right, so I'm on my calendar table, and I know that the two problems I have are the day name column and the month name column, because everything else is a number, right? And of course, one number follows another number follows another number. They sort appropriately. But because Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday start with different letters that sort of go all over the alphabet, we don't have the same benefits there. So here's what we're going to do. Month name is incredibly easy to do because every month has a perfect chronological month number associated with it. So all I do is I go to the month name column and I tell it, please don't sort A to Z or Z to A. You see that? Those two options right there? Instead, I go to sort by column and I tell it that the month name column needs to be sorted by the month column, which is the one that has the number in it. And when I click OK, now that information has been saved into the model. So I'll go ahead, I'll just leave that there for now. Okay, so I'll close this down and I will take out that and just reuse my month name. Okay, so put my month name in there, and now you see January, February, March, April, May. Awesome. Everything's working spectacularly. Okay, next one is a little bit more complicated. What's the one that's more complicated? I'm going to go back to manage and look at my day name versus the day of the week. Okay, so the day of the week goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's fine, but what if I wanted Sunday to come after Saturday and I wanted the days of the week to start on Monday? Ooh, okay. So what I need to do there is I need to go back to the calculation for the day of the week and actually revamp those numbers so that the Sunday is not 0, but instead is 7. So in this, I'm going to go back to Power Query and solve it at the root, right? So I go back to TBL calendar inside a Power Query, double click on it, and I need to make a column that takes the day of the week and pivots it around so that 0 is instead 7. Pretty straightforward, right? So I'm going to go up here to add a new column, add a custom column, and I'll say, here's my custom column. I'll call this day number sort, something like that. All right, and what I'll do is I'll say if the day of the week is equal to 0, then take the day of the week and add 7 to it. Else, output the day of the week. And that's, an easy enough calculation. The only thing I'm concerned about is that Sunday needs to go to the end and everything else can stay just the way it is. Hit OK. I've now loaded, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is actually seen as a whole number. I've loaded this into the system. I can go back and hit close and load. And now when I go into Power Pivot and I manage the model, let's go back here, manage the model, looking good. I go over here to the day name, and again, sort by the column for day number sort, and hit OK. So now I minimize Power Pivot. And if I were to rotate out month name and rotate in day of the week, oop, wrong one. Rotate in day name, there we go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Perfect. Okay, now I want to go another layer deeper because as I was investigating this, I thought something would work and it actually didn't work. And I want to show you where the trouble actually lies. So let's go all the way back into Power Query again. I'll double click on my calendar table here. So let's say what I'm interested in now is that I really would love to have an entry that goes something like Jan-05 or Jan 2005 or something like that. Okay. So what I'll do is I will go in, add a new column based on an example, because that's just the easiest way to do this. And I'll do Jan 2005. Looking good. And then I'll go down here to February and replace Jan 2005 with Feb 2005. And just like that, it says, okay, it looks like what you want to do is take the actual date and format it as a 3-character month. And you want to take the year and spit that out. That's perfect. I hit OK. So this is going to be called now month year. Now think about this. This has got the same problem in terms of sorting that our other issues have, which is that Jan and Feb aren't seen as 1 and 2, but J and F, right? So I'll go ahead and hit close and load, and I'll show you the problem that I ran into so you can see why I'm going to go through this more complex process. So you would assume that at this stage in the process, I go to Power Pivot at the top of the screen. I click on the Manage button over here on the left, and I say, okay, take that month and year, and I need to sort it by something, right? Oh, what can I sort it by? And I look around, okay, I can't actually sort it by just month or just year. So I guess I'm going to have to sort this by the date. That seems rational, right? July, it comes in the right order. But the problem that you find is when you click on Sort by Column and you say, sort this month and year by the column called Actual Date. and you hit OK, you're going to get an error message. See this right here? It says the problem that we have is that you've got a whole bunch of JUL 2005s. And each JUL 2005 is actually matched up with a different date. So I don't know how to sort JUL 2005 if JUL 2005 is actually July 3rd and July 4th and July 5th and July 6th and July 7th. So I can't do it this way. So what I'm going to need to do is, again, go back to the beginning and create a column that we can sort this by that will actually work. So I'm going to click Cancel here, close down Power Pivot, go back into Power Query, double click on the calendar, and I'm going to create a column. And I thought about this for a little while, and this was the first thing that came to mind. If you can think of something better, I would love comments about what you think could solve this better. But the way that I thought about it was, okay, well, what I need to be able to do is take the year, and I need to be able to add the month to it, and basically use that as a numeric value. But I can't just add 2005 to 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then go to 2006, because 2006 plus January would be 2007, but 2005 plus February would be 2017. So what I'm going to do instead is this. I'm going to take month, bring it over here so it's easier for me to see. And I'm going to create a new custom column. And what it's going to be is year, month, sort. And I'll take the year value. So that is the year column right here. And I'm going to multiply it. Now, because in this situation I'm only concerned about the month, I'm going to multiply it by 100. So I have 2 zeros where the month can go, and then plus, and do the number of the month, just like that. Now I hit OK, and I have a numeric value. I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a whole number. That's 2005-01, 2005-02, 2005-03, and that will sort beautifully. So once again, I go back to the Home tab, click Close and Load, and now I go back into Power Pivot by clicking on the Manage button, and once again go to this month-year option and sort the month-year column by the year-month sort column, just like that, and hit OK. Beautiful. So at this stage, now when I go back to my pivot table, what I can do is I can take the day name out and put the month year back in, and you can see it goes beautifully. January 2017, February, March, April, and then January, February, March, April of 2018 on down the line. Whew. So sorting one column by another column in Power Pivot is the solution to these problems with text values coming from Power Query. But the problem is that sometimes you need to get a little bit creative with how you create numeric values by which you want to sort.